chair rolled away. Okay. I'm sitting on a stability ball. And it just rolled away. Okay. Hi. I have headphones because I was thinking about talking a little bit before we begin the live video. Does anyone want to say hi to Oscar? Oscar? He wants to say hi, baby. Oscar's here to help today. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Captain Oscar. He's going to show us how to get a good warm-up. Okay, so, if the sound is good, I won't use the headphones. If the sound is not good, there's not too much breeze, but if you feel like there's too much breeze and you can't hear me, let me know, and I will put in the headphones. Also, my computer is already plugged in, so I'm not going to lose battery this time, which is great. Okay, we got some people logging on, getting ready, and welcome. Hi, thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk about warming up today. We're going to talk about why we warm up. We're going to talk about how we warm up, and then I'm going to go over with you the exercises that I currently do in my warm-up. My paddle warm-up is always evolving based on things that I'm dealing with in my body, things that I am incorporating into my paddling, what my workout is going to look like. My warm-up is different whether I am warming up for a paddle or whether I am warming up for the gym. Hi, Amy. Oscar says hi as well. He's chilling. He's here. So yeah, there's a warm-up is super important, and I know that it's something that gets skipped a lot, and the cool down gets skipped a lot too. And I'm not going to talk. I'll talk maybe a little bit about the cool down as well. However, the main focus today is going to be the warm-up, and I think it's something that I know people admit to me, and occasionally I even do it myself. It gets skimped. However, the older I get, which I know compared to, hi Richard, compared to many of you, I am still quite young, but even at my age, I'm 32. Actually, I turned 33 this week. Even at my age, I'm noticing, the older I get, the more injuries I've had, the longer and I need to warm up, and the more important it is for me to warm up to feel good. Coach Larry talks about this all the time. He's written a lot of great blog posts about warming up, how to warm up, why you should warm up, and how getting in a proper warm up actually it not only is it safer for your body that you're properly prepared to perform your workout, but it also increases your performance when you are properly warmed up before you begin your workout. So this is important for paddlers. This is important for any type of workout. This is definitely important for strength training. And I'm going to talk about strength training warm-ups as well as the warm-up we'll do together at the end will be more like my paddle warm-up, but I'll talk about my strength warm-up as well. So we have plenty of people tuned in. Let's begin. Why do we warm up? Well, I've just been talking about several of the reasons why it's important. Warming up and stretching is a foreign word to most of us men over 50, willing to try anything right now. It's not just men over 50. There's a lot of resistance to warming up. But let's talk about why we warm up. Besides the things that I just spoke about, injury prevention, increased performance, we warm up, before I begin, or while I begin, you're just going to maybe need your paddle if you want to join me, and I also have just one rubber band. I meant to say that a minute ago, but at the end you might want to grab your paddle, and I might use a band, I might not. Those are the only props, and they're totally optional. So why do we warm up? We warm up to get, I mean, the term warm up is actually a pretty accurate description. We want to get our blood flowing, and we want to raise our body temperature. And I live in Florida. It's hot even most mornings, but depending on where you live, and especially when it's really cold out, you definitely want to get your blood flowing, and you want to get your body temperature to rise. And those two things, the reason that we're also doing those things, those are leading up to that gets your muscles and your connective tissues loosening up. We need the body to start being fluid, blood's flowing, body temperature's rising, muscles and connective tissue are starting to loosen up and be more mobile. That's going to lubricate your joints. We want the joints to be mobile, and we want the joints to be able to perform their functions properly. And so that's warming up, that's loosening up, and then part of the warm up is also making sure that we are engaging our muscles properly to perform the task that we're going to ask them to do, to perform the workout. We want to make sure that everything's firing and engaged the way that we want it to be, and we're using correct form, whether that's lifting, whether that's paddling, whatever it may be. So, hi Piotr. So, those are the reasons why. And then also, if you are going to be lifting heavy weights, you want to make sure that on top of that, additionally, we are doing a warm-up to ensure that we are safely adding the weight to what we're going to be lifting. And if you're doing a cardio activity, you are additionally making sure that you're activating your aerobic system. Again, that's talking about the increased performance you'll see after a proper warm-up. If your aerobic system is properly activated, you're going to start your workout already ready to get the benefits of the training level that you're trying to be at. So oftentimes, especially when we start a paddle at, say, level 2, you're like, oh, well, I can just warm up. My level 2 is my warm-up. And there is a little bit of wiggle room in there, but it takes me a good 10 minutes of paddling before I really do reach my level 2 of especially getting my heart rate, which is not the only way to judge your training level, but to get to where I'm really in a level 2 zone. Sure, I can paddle off the bat at level 2, but I'm not actually in my level 2, right? So get your blood flowing, raise your body temperature, loosen up your muscles and your connective tissues, get your joints lubricated and moving, engaging your muscles properly, adding weight safely, and getting your aerobic system activated. Just to recap why and what we're doing when we're warming up. It's going to help you prevent injuries. It's going to help you recover and deal with injuries more quickly, and it's going to increase your performance of your workout. So warm up. Okay, let's talk about how do we warm up, or what constitutes a proper warm-up. To get your blood flowing and your body temperature to rise, we need to do some cardio. We need to do some activity that's going to elevate our heart rate and get everything moving and heating up and warming up. So typically 5 to 10 minutes of easy cardio. If I am paddling and I'm paddling in flat water, I might do the cardio I might do the next few things that I'm going to talk about first, and then do the cardio 5 to 10 minutes warming up once I'm on the water. But oftentimes I'll do a little jog up and down the beach to get moving, especially when I'm training early in the morning and it's the first thing I'm doing. So you want to get moving, and if you're in a cold environment, definitely you want to get things moving before you're getting on the water super cold, super stiff. So 5 to 10 minutes of cardio, definitely in the gym. If you follow the Paddle Monster strength program, you know that's always the first thing that Coach Chapman recommends. So then we want to do some dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching means you're moving through the stretching. You're not holding a pose, you are going to the end range of motion and then coming back. So circles, swings, again, moving through your ranges of motion, through your joints, things like these. Even slow body weight movements. I do a lot of like yoga type movements, vinyasa type movements to get those joints moving, get the blood flowing, and also to keep getting the heart rate moving. So we want to do some easy cardio, some dynamic stretching. Depending on what the activity it is that you're warming up for, those dynamic stretches will change. Which joints do I need to find the range of motion and move through? Is it my shoulders? Is it my wrists? Is it my knees? Is it my hips, right? And then I want to make sure that I'm activating properly the muscles that I'm going to ask to do the work. And this is where it kind of gets into not only specifically what work am I asking my body to do, but, hi Veronica, not only specifically what work am I asking my body to do that I need to activate for, what muscles do I need to activate, but which areas, especially if you're dealing with injuries, current, past, present, and knock on wood, I'm just dealing with past injuries at the moment, but it's really important for me to make sure that I am doing the exercises, that my body's engaging the right areas that it needs to engage in the right way, so that when I ask it to pull, it's my lats that are pulling, not my elbow or my neck or places where I know that I've been injured in the past because my lats weren't activated. And that is individual to the person, that is individual to the activity, but these are the types of things that we are exploring. And typically for paddlers, I always want to make sure that I'm activating my posterior chain, my back, especially my lats. I want to make sure that I've activated my glutes. I want to make sure that I've activated my stabilizing muscles down my legs, my ankles, right? All the things that I think are really important. I want to make sure that things are firing properly. So then if I'm doing a strength workout, after I do my easy cardio, my dynamic stretches, and I make sure that I've activated the muscles that I'm about to ask to do the job and they're firing properly. If I'm doing a strength workout, then I'm going to slowly add weight I usually do 2 to 3 warm-up sets, starting very low weight, then add, depending on what it is, 5 or 10 pounds, to slowly and safely add up. Say the workout is 4 sets of 6 for back squats, and I know that I could do 150 pounds back squat. Well, I'm not just going to throw 150 pounds in the bar. I'm going to do a few actively stretching just air squats, body weight, and that's my active stretching, and I'll even put bands around my legs and press my legs out to make sure that I'm activating through that range of motion, right? And then I'll do a set just with the bar. Then I'll do a set just with, another 20 pounds, add 20 pounds, and I work up to the weight that I know I'm going to do at that. And then once I'm at that weight, I'll start my 4 sets. So these are important because, also, especially if we're talking about weight training, okay, right now we're not going to the gym and putting 150 pounds on the bar. Some of us might have that amount of weight at home. But in any case, you'll find that through your strength training with proper activation and proper warming up, you're going to be able to perform it more, you're going to be able to perform it better and maybe even with more weight. So it's, it's going to feel, it's a win-win. If it's a cardio activity, after I do my warm-up cardio, easy 5 to 10 minutes, and my dynamic stretching and my activations, Then I'm going to slowly increase my heart rate until I reach the desired, say if I'm starting at a level 4, I might not paddle until my heart rate actually reaches level 4. But I will paddle until my heart rate reaches a level 2, and then make sure, which for me again is I do about 10 minutes of paddling before I start my workout. I will make sure that additionally, if I'm starting at a level 3 or a level 4, that I've pulled a few strokes at that level and everything feels good before I start. And if it doesn't feel good, I'll go back, make sure that I dial in whatever didn't feel good, pull a few hard strokes at that level to make sure that my body, before I tell it, okay, we're going to start this 2-minute interval, but after a few strokes, I'm like, oh wait, something doesn't feel right, then I have to go back and start over, right? So make sure everything feels good before you hit go on your intervals. Does that all make sense? Do you all have questions about how and what? What I'm going to do now, please comment if you do. What I'm going to do now is go through my paddle warm-up. So if you have questions about a specific exercise that you're doing now, or whatever workouts that you're doing, if you have a specific question about how you might or how I might warm up for that, please write that in the comments. And if I don't see it now before I start my paddle warm-up, I'll answer it at the end of the video. Okay, cool. I love the slackline video. Thanks, John. Let's do a warm-up. This is going to be, again, individual to the person. It's going to be individual, or it's going to be depending on the person and depending on the activity, how you're actually going to warm up and what constitutes a proper warm-up. For me, I had a neck injury. Hold on. You ready to warm up, Oscar? Oscar's ready. Okay, so for me, I had a neck injury. So again, if I'm going to be paddling off the beach, I'll probably jog up and down the beach a little bit. If it's cold outside, I'm going to make sure I've got my blood flowing before I go out. If I'm paddling on flat water, I'll probably just go ahead and go right into my stretches and my activations, and then do my cardio warm-up once I'm on the water. But for me, I had a neck injury, so the first thing I do is I stretch my neck. I do some dynamic stretches for my neck. I stretch, and I'm not holding the stretch, I'm actually actively stretching here, 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 here. So for me, the first thing is to make sure that my neck and my shoulders and all of this is relaxed, because I often still sometimes wake up with a stiff neck. So I do my neck stretches, my active neck stretches. And then I want to make sure that, I make sure that this is all relaxed, and then I want to make sure that I activate my posterior, I want to make sure that I activate my back, so that the large muscles of my back are doing the work and my neck and shoulders don't end up taking over. So I will do, one second. So I like to do, I'll often have my paddle in my hands. You can do this without a paddle. You can do this with bands. I like to go into a little bit of a hinge, and by hinge I mean I send my hips back, right? So a hinge is like it's like a weird shadow. So a hinge is like a deadlift position, right? I take my hips back. So I go into a little bit of a hinge here, and I have my hands shoulder width apart, and I lift them up. And if you're doing this with me, you can comment, or you can just, cyberkinetically tell me, where do you feel this when you lift your arms up? What muscles do you feel working when you lift your arms up over your head? And at what point do you start to feel resistance where you actually have to engage the muscles to keep lifting? So did anybody answer that they felt that in their traps, upper traps? Because if so, that's totally normal. Most of us would actually answer that. But really, where we want to be feeling that is in our lower traps. So when I'm lifting up, when I get to about here, I start to feel resistance, and I want to lift up, and I want to feel this lifting from the back, not from the shoulders. For me, that's a really important one. So I do a lot of these. So I do these at shoulder width. I do them about double shoulder width. And again, I'm in this hinged position, so I'm a little bit bent over, flat back, back of the neck long, and I will do them nice and wide like a V. And so the wider you are, the higher up in the back you're going to feel this, and the narrower you are, the lower in the back you're going to feel this. But you want to feel this in the back, not in the shoulders, not in the neck. So I do a bunch of these. Sometimes I will add in some shoulder angels or shoulder slides. We do these against the wall. Chris Chapman has us do this against the wall. But again, in that hinged position, glutes are activated, back of the neck is long, and so I've come up like this, like I was just doing with my paddle, and I'll add some slides. And sometimes I'll add in some little reverse flies. So again, just making sure that my back muscles are firing. And when I pull my arms down, I'm feeling that pull from my lats. Yeah? So I like to do those. Then I'll do some, and if you're in your some relaxing, do some rubbing, do some stretching of the traps, like, whoop, drop my paddle. These are good. So if you put one arm behind your back, opposite ear to shoulder, so relax that. Be like, hey, chill out. Hey, chill out. Let's see if we can get the back to do the work. And sometimes just like recognizing in your body what's going on and being aware and asking it to do things properly works, and oftentimes it's a process where we have to train. We have to train our body to do things the way we want it to do them, right? So then I like to do some arm swings, make sure I'm not going to hit anything, make sure you don't hit anything, especially if you're in your house right now. You could do this without your paddle and just pretend you have your paddle. But I like to swing and rotate. So what I'm doing here is, I'm swinging my arms, right? But I'm also rotating and reaching. So this is stretching my sides, right? This is stretching my rotation. And so this is really, I'm just doing this to get the rotation down. And I'll do that several times on each side. The goal would be that every time I'm coming up, my paddle is totally vertical. So I'll do that several times on each side till I feel loose, I feel like I can rotate, I feel like I can swing. And then what I'll start to do is I'll do a swing, and then I'll put my paddle down. Usually I'm in the sand or the grass. Right now I'm on wood, so I'm being a little bit more ginger. But I'll put my paddle down, and I will go ahead and draw that top hand. So I'll do my swing, I'll put my paddle down as if I was taking a stroke, and I'll draw that top hand down. And what I'm feeling for is I'm feeling for my lat engaged. And so I know sometimes when I reach here, sometimes for me, again, my lats are issues, and that's not what's firing. What ends up firing is up here, and I have to do this several times. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that feels really good, and sometimes it doesn't, right? So I do that a few times on each side. I do my swings, and I make sure that when I go boom, it's the muscles that I want to feel engaged. So I'll make sure my lats are engaged. I will, even though we don't really pull with our bottom arm, I will give a little pull here in the bottom arm, and I'm pushing down, pulling, pushing down, I'm pulling, and I'll do those several times on each side. So again, I did a twist to make sure that this is all lengthened, and then I did, pulling to make sure this is all activated. Then I start to do some more for the legs. Hi, baby. And I'll go into a little bit of a lunge. Can you see my feet? Can you see my feet? Okay, so I go into a lunge. However, the back foot, in most people it's going to want to turn out so that your heel is in and your toes are out. I want you to turn it so that your toes and your knee are in a line, right? So your back toes, your back heel is up, off, but it's not turned out. The hip is square, the knee is square, and the toes are pointing forward. And then I pull the hip back, that engages here. And then what I do is I lower that heel and lift it back up. And so I'm pulling the legs towards one another. Pull the back leg back and the front leg forward. And that's really activating me feeling really stable and really grounded. And then lowering and lifting this back heel with it pointing straight forward, well, that's warming up my ankles. And when we're paddling, we have we do a lot of ankle flexion, right, to get our body weight forward onto our blade. So from here, lifting and lowering, I'm warming up that ankle as well as warming up a nice stable foundation. So then I do the other side. Toes pointed forward, not out. Knees forward, hips forward. Both toes are forward. The back leg's pulling back, the front leg's pulling forward. Just a slight bend in both knees. And then I'm lowering and lifting that hip. And if you are really tight, you can add in rotations here. You can do some side, you can do some more side bending if you feel like you need extra side bending. You can do extra rotations, turning towards your bent knee. If you feel like you are somebody who's really tight in your thoracic and you know that you need more mobility in your reach and rotation, adding in a few more here when you're in this lunge position. Rotations are good. So we warmed up the ankles for our ankle flexion onto our paddle, right? And then I want to warm up all the stabilizing muscles in my leg, especially if I'm going into water that I feel might be unstable. So my favorite exercise to warm up the legs before I paddle, and this is the exercise, I learned this in Paris last year before getting in the pool. If you watch the sprints in the pool got super wishy-washy, and we had nowhere to warm up. It was like, your heat's up, you get in the pool, and boom, you have to sprint, right? So this is what I was doing outside the pool to get warmed up before I went on, to get my legs warmed up for moving up and down on my board in the pool. And I think you guys did some of these with me in one of the live videos that I did. We've done these already, but it's a single leg touch. Oh, it was the balance video. So if you're really unstable, grab something that you can hold on to. If balance is not your thing, go ahead and get something you can hold on to. But you're going to take a slight bend in that front knee, and you're going to take opposite hand to opposite foot, and you want to touch down and come up. Woo! And you're going to shoot that leg back, touch opposite hand. You can add a little knee lift if you want. And I do 10 times. And arms out makes it a little easier. You want to have arms out. And let's do the other side. So, slight bend in this standing leg. The hip is pulling back. And so, I don't know if you guys feel this, hopefully you do. The ankle starts, all those stabilizing muscles in the ankle start firing, right? You start feeling it in the ankle, you start feeling it up the leg. And after about 5 or 6, you're feeling this, hopefully, if you're hinging back, pulling the hips back to lower down, pressing the heels back to lower down, it's warming up the glutes, the hamstrings as well. So about 10 of those on each side. And my legs feel really warmed up and ready to hop on my board. So, did anybody, oh no, I'm not feeling my back. That's okay. So, Veronica commented triceps. Does that mean that's the area you want to know how to warm up your triceps? I'm guessing that's what she means. Or when I asked, when you reached up here, you're feeling your triceps. So, right, everybody's different. Everybody's going to feel things a little differently, engage a little differently, have areas of their body that like to fire more or fire less than others. And don't worry if you're not feeling that in your back. You can just knowing, oh, okay, I need to relax here. I need to activate here. Stop. If you're lifting your arms up and you start to feel that the shoulders want to take over, stop where the shoulders want to take over. Relax the shoulders. And see if you can feel it a little more in your back. If you can't, just stop where the shoulders start to take over and just go to that point, and slowly but surely you'll be able to go a little higher. Sometimes I feel that doing these like swings sometimes helps too. After I did these, right, we did those swings. But if you want to just do straight arm swings, you can do those as well. And that might help you as well. Relax a little bit here on the way down. You just go relax. Triceps. Yes, that's what I meant when I raised the paddle. Okay, that's what she meant. So hopefully I answered that. If you're feeling your triceps when you raise the paddle, that means your triceps are pretty tight. And so what you want to do is just bend your elbow, take a hold here, and give a gentle pull back, and that's going to stretch here. And so if we're doing this as a warm-up, we're going to do this as an active stretch where you're going to bend the elbow, you're going to give a gentle pull back, but then you're going to push your elbow into your hand. So you're actively pushing the elbow, not pulling the elbow with the hand, but you're pushing the elbow into the hand and then releasing, and then push the elbow into the hand and then release. So that's an active stretch that's going to lengthen here, and then you'll do that on the other side. Push the elbow into the hand. And so the hand's just meeting the pressure of the elbow pulling back down. And that's a really nice active stretch for the tricep. And then go ahead and shake that out. So I hope that answers your question, Veronica. You're very welcome. And that's about it for what I have for today, unless anybody else has any questions about warm-ups, why and how and what. Thanks so much for joining. What do you think, Oscar? Are you ready to go? Oh. Oscar says do puppy pose. All right. I will see you guys on Sunday. I'll see you on Sunday for another yoga session. Okay. Bye.